Hey, hope you're well. So in this one, I'm making some small drawers that fit into the supports under my MFT workbench. I say small, they are actually tiny, but they're really quite long. So a couple of weeks back, I took a look at the new premium MFT-alike bench from Benchtop Tools, the Ultra MFT workstation. And a quick correction before we go on. I quoted the weight of this bench in that video as 35 kilos. That was the shipped weight of the full package and included the wheel set. The weight of the Medout bench alone, this one is 31 kilos, so lighter, but still substantial. I've got my benches lower than a lot of workshops because of my restricted ceiling height, and I've set this one up on little plywood boxes on top of the supports that I put in for my DIY MFT bench. I covered the build and install of those on a Plus member exclusive video, and as part of the conversation that we were having around the bench, Plus member Paul mentioned that I should use them for storage. The more I thought about that, the more it seemed like a really good idea. Although I have a limited number of long, thin things that I needed to store, I do have loads of smaller stuff that I want to have handy, but not on the actual bench top, which is where they usually end up. As with many a workshop project, I'm just making this from scraps of plywood, and the size has been dictated by whatever it is I have. I've got a small piece of 6mm birch ply that's about the right length, and by that I mean I can still get the drawer in and out. And I'm using a scrap of thin ply to mark the height of the openings, then make a little test cut on the table saw, checking it against the opening before ripping the first strip that'll form the sides of the drawer boxes. I do that because I know that the fence is in exactly the right place. After checking that in both sides of the bench, I can get on with the other 3 of those that I need cut. I'm going to use a little piece of 9mm Malaysian ply for the drawer bases, and these will sit between the birch ply sides, so I can use 2 pieces of the 6mm birch inside the openings and bear against that to mark the opening width. Test cut again. Check it against both sides and then rip strips for the 2 bases. And yes, I know the grain is going the wrong direction on one of them. That's a consequence of using whatever you have and something that I can live with for the base of a workshop drawer box. With the fence still set up for the drawer base width, I'm cutting a small piece of 6mm for the front and rear drawer ends, then trimming them down to the same height as the sides. I'm doing it this way because I wasn't sure that I'd have enough 6mm for the front and rear. I'd have used the 9mm if I hadn't, but as it happens, it's okay. Now, as I said before, the drawer length is dictated by the size of the 6mm ply that I have, so the drawer bases need to be trimmed down by the thickness of the front and rear faces. That's easily done with the workpieces themselves. Just mark them at first, and then cut. I want to put some little finger pull cutouts on the drawer fascias, so I've marked the center of each and 10mm down from the top edge with an awl, and then I've drilled a hole with a 20mm Forstner bit. Then it's over to the bandsaw to carefully cut out the remaining waste. In theory, this should be a matter of just flipping this over to do the other side, but in practice, the fence almost always needs a little bit of adjustment. So with all the parts cut, 9mm base, 6mm sides, front and rear, I can start the glue up. I'm just using a CA glue to attach the front and rears to the base. and then a fast grab PVA for the sides with 23 gauge pins driven through the sides just for good measure. By fixing through the sides into the front and rear, you keep the fascias clear, and you also have good shear strength in the fore and aft movement, same as fixing through the sides into the base. Not that these little drawers will be subject to any significant loads, but it's generally good practice. Ten minutes later and the glue is set enough for some light sanding, cleaning up the fascias and front edges of the ply and making sure that the bases are nice and flush with the sides. Because the top and base of these little cubbies aren't solid, they're more like spacers to keep the sides separate, I'm adding a slight bevel to the back edge of the drawer box to help prevent it catching as it pushed home. So there you go, some tiny little drawers, all fitting pretty snugly and everything measured off the opening and cut to fit. I couldn't actually tell you what the dimensions of these are, and to be honest, it doesn't really matter. They were quick and easy to do and oddly satisfying too. I may need to make up some inserts in these to stop the bench dogs rattling around, and maybe some more little insert boxes for odds and ends like I did with the tool tote, though perhaps not with my aircraft grade birch plywood. In a small workshop like this, you need to make the most of the space you have, especially storage, but at the same time, you need to not be too precious about it. Super glue, CA glue on the front and rears just keeps it in place quickly so I can get on with the actual construction. The PVA and pins through the sides of the drawers keeps everything strong, or at least plenty strong enough. I'm going to leave these unfinished for now and may put some wax on them later. I might need to put a stop inside the cubbies as well so that it got pushed too far in, but that's all in the future. For the present, I'm just going to get on and enjoy having somewhere to stash the smaller odds and ends, and I'll call this one done for this week. Thanks so much for watching this quick and dirty workshop build. Thanks so much to Plus member Paul for the chat that led to it as well. Come and join us as a 10-Minute Workshop Plus member and be part of the community, part of the conversation that helps to shape these public-facing YouTube videos. Either way, be sure to leave a comment, hit subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Right, take care.